Have you heard about the TikTok trend and the McDonald's migraine hack, aka the McMigraine? If you haven't, it's okay. Brierley hadn't either. The premise of these viral videos is that a McDonald's Coke and French fries is an effective way to run off a migraine.
So in today's episode, we broke down the science behind this trend and whether there's any legitimacy to it. Let's just say that if you're a migraine sufferer or you know someone who is, you'll want to listen to this one. Let's dive in.
Okay, I find today's topic fascinating, but I really had to convince you that this should be an episode.
Oh, yes. I was
very skeptical.
Very skeptical. And I also was like, seriously, how do we make this a podcast topic? This is ridiculous.
But once we got into it, it was kind of fun.
It was really fun and really interesting.
And I'm not saying that if I get a migraine that I'm not going by McDonald's.
Oh, I don't want you to get a migraine, but if you do, I really hope that you go by McDonald's.
You want me to document it?
Yes.
Okay.
I want a full documentation.
Well, where did the McMigraine concept even come from? Go ahead.
Well, but so the thing is that the McMigraine, the phrase in and of itself, is highly entertaining to me. And you messaged me and you were like, "Oh, have you heard about the McMigraine?" And of course, everybody, if you've listened to this podcast before, you know I live a little bit under a rock.
You do not follow pop culture. You like your self-help.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now
she knows nothing going on Real Housewives.
No reality.
Yeah.
So where did this come from? Because Carolyn really had to educate me. So if you don't know, she's going to educate you now too.
So this is a huge TikTok trend. There was a viral post that someone made a while back talking about how a large Coke and a large fry from McDonald's made their migraine go away. But what happened after that is all these other people started chiming in and doing their videos.
Yes, like doing it, going and getting the McMigraine.
And if you search on TikTok, there's hundreds of videos, with millions of views and people saying, yes, this works.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we pulled up TikTok because we were like, well, how many are there? So we pulled it up, and I mean, I had to scroll and scroll and scroll through all of the videos. And these videos have tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of views.
Yeah. And yes, this is anecdotal, but I feel like for someone who gets migraines to actually take the time to make a video saying this worked for me.
Yeah.
You'll do anything to get rid of migraine,
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
It kind of says something. So the specific McMigraine prescription is a large Coke and a large fry.
Yes.
And the premise behind why some experts say it may actually work is that caffeine acts as a vasoconstrictor, nearing blood vessels, which can counteract the dilation that occurs during a migraine.
Yeah, so your blood vessels expand when you have a migraine. If you then put caffeine on it, it's going to help constrict them back, make them smaller.
Which can help with pain
with the pain relief of the migraine.
Yes. Then the salt in the fries may help because dehydration and or low sodium or electrolyte imbalances can be a factor in causing migraines. Now, there's lots of factors involved in why, we don't even fully understand why migraines occur.
Right.
But dehydration, low sodium levels, as well as low blood sugar can kind of be tipping points to kind of push maybe a migraine that may be kind of slowly brewing, kind of push it over the edge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And fries, of course, also provide those carbs, so that's going to help with the blood sugar, and just that combination of the electrolytes, the
salt, the carbs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then pair it with the caffeine, and that is why they are saying this is the perfect, let's call it a cocktail for migraine, or snack solution for migraine sufferers.
Yeah.
So we, of course, I was like,
You were so skeptical.
come on, people. Like, and in full disclosure, I don't know a lot about migraines, but because I don't suffer from them. But I do know that they, and this was even when we started to look into the research, that it's how you respond to a migraine and what helps you can be sometimes very individual. But of course, per usual, we got a little bit of information and then we went down the research rabbit hole to find out if it had any legs.
Yeah. So we looked at electrolyte imbalances and the role that might play in kind of in a migraine developing or kind of tipping it over the point to where it develops. And electrolytes, specifically like sodium, potassium, and magnesium, are really key for proper nerve function, but also proper fluid balance. And when you have imbalances, even slight ones, it can affect the way the nerves fire, which can potentially lead to headaches and migraines. So we looked up in McDonald's. Is this for a large or a medium fry?
This is for a large. Sorry, I updated it. This is a large fry. And so automatically my brain was like, well, I know that potatoes have potassium and magnesium in them.
But do they have them when they're fried?
But do they have them when they're fried?
Yes. So a large serving of fries at McDonald's has 1,000 milligrams of potassium, which is a lot. That's 20% of your daily value, 20% that you need each day. But I don't think people realize, like, most people's diets are pretty low in potassium. And this 1,000 is a great kind of...
It's a great hit of potassium. Yeah. Now, potatoes have magnesium in them. The thing is that magnesium, we don't know how much magnesium is in a large McDonald's fry because it's not a nutrient that is reported on a nutrition facts panel. So I'm going to assume that there's still magnesium. I mean, magnesium is not a volatile nutrient that would be destroyed during cooking. So there definitely should be some magnesium in there. I mean, a potato in and of itself is a good source of magnesium, and that is also a nutrient that most of us are not getting enough of.
Yeah. And then sodium. Okay, so you put down that a large fry at McDonald's has 400 milligrams, which that seems very low. That's a big amount.
I agree that seems low because it tastes like it's got a lot more in there.
I would say you probably get a little more than 400. Which is a hefty dose.
But it's not over the top. It's
not crazy over the top.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so that's where the electrolytes could come into play. And that, could play a role whether you have an electrolyte imbalance or slight dehydration or...
I mean, and a large fry is kind of filling. Like if you're hungry, if hunger has triggered it, or obviously like blood sugar, for sure. I mean, I could be pretty satisfied with a large fry.
Like with a migraine, particularly early, like you have a little nausea maybe. And like I think back to pregnancy.
Yes, I was hoping you were going to say that.
Like, and all that I could eat were just like carbs, just plain carbs.
That was probably the last time I drank a Coke.
Yeah.
Was during pregnancy. Yeah.
Okay, well, I found that the most interesting part of this, though, is when we looked at caffeine and what it can do in regards to pain relief, particularly when caffeine is coupled with a pain reliever, like ibuprofen or like aspirin. And this is fascinating.
Yeah.
Like whether I have a migraine or not, when I feel like I need a pain reliever, I'm going to take some caffeine with it because of what we found.
Yes.
Okay, so fill us in on this.
Okay, so when it comes to a large Coke, we're not really... I don't know exactly how much.
80. I looked it up.
Yeah.
About
okay.
80
and
milligrams.
Everybody had said about 80.
Which is about like 2 small cups of coffee or maybe like a large cup of coffee that's really strong.
Yes.
Would you say that?
Well, I would say a true cup, not what we think of as a cup. Like an actual measured 8-ounce cup.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we all know what my mugs look like.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the research basically, the research shows caffeine helps, okay? How much, we dove into how much caffeine. So when you look at like studies of studies, the recommended threshold is greater than or equal to 100 milligrams.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit more than what is in this Coke. But there's other research that says if you're a migraine sufferer, you really don't want to go over 200 milligrams of caffeine in a day because it can have the opposite effect for some people.
But in general, 100 to 200 might be your sweet spot when it comes to pain relief, not just migraines.
Exactly.
Migraine, but also when they looked at postpartum pain, post-operative dental pain,
Mm-hmm. Oh God, and that's
post-surgical
that's
pain. They looked at caffeine and related to all those things. And so caffeine helps a little, but what we found is, and your ibuprofen, your pain relievers help some.
Right.
But what we found is when you get around at least 100 milligrams of caffeine with that pain reliever, it enhances that pain reliever's effect.
Exactly.
So you get even more pain relief.
Right.
Which I thought was so cool, and that you actually can end up taking less of that pain reliever because it's so much more effective with the caffeine.
Right. So there was research that looked at pairing caffeine with the painkiller. So either like acetaminophen or ibuprofen, which brand names there are Tylenol and Advil. Mm-hmm. So pair caffeine with those 100 milligrams to 130 milligrams, and it's going to improve your pain relief when you pair them together. Then another study found that when you paired them together, this one was older, but it was great. When you pair the pain reliever and the caffeine together, that you can take 40% less of your pain reliever dose
and get the same effect.
So it helps you. So the way that I look at it is like if you are regularly needing to take a pain reliever, if you pair it with caffeine, you can at least reduce the dose that is going into your body, right? And so I think that was a study that was done on postpartum pain and post-surgical
and
pain.
Headaches. I did see something that the kind of threshold is about 65 milligrams of caffeine. Like they didn't find that when you paired your pain reliever with 65 milligrams or less that you got
the boost,
that boost in extra pain relief.
Okay.
That it needed to be above that. And like we said, a large Coke at McDonald's is about 80, so that is above that. A lot of the research suggested more around 100, but as long as you're over that 65,
right?
You'd get the significant effect that all these studies have found. There are about 25 studies.
Yeah. And the other thing too is that, like, let's remember that Excedrin is common for migraine relief, and it contains caffeine.
Yeah. And we did see. We found a great neurologist on TikTok who also is a migraine sufferer, and she was breaking down the McMigraine. And she did share, like, one Excedrin has about 65 milligrams of caffeine.
Yeah.
So, but the dosage is 2.
Right.
So you're getting around 130.
Yeah.
Which is, like, right in that sweet spot, So that is an alternative, I guess, to the Coke. If you don't want the sugar, but that sugar may be helping your blood sugar.
Well, I was going to say,
and nausea.
If hunger and nausea is a part of it, that Excedrin is not going to. It's not going to fix that problem.
Yeah. Okay, the other thing that we found that I loved is those 25 studies. We looked at a review of those 25 studies, and no reports of serious adverse effects related to the ingestion of pain relievers and caffeine was found.
It's awesome.
I know. The addition of caffeine to an analgesic, to a pain reliever, they found that it was a harmful effect was improbable.
Which is great.
Assuming you take the recommended dosage of that pain reliever.
Yeah. So it can't hurt to try it.
So, I guess if you have a migraine and that sounds good, go for it.
Do it. Yeah. Again, not a migraine sufferer. I'm not sure that I could drink a large Coke.
Yeah. Well, I'm not like a true, I mean, I get migraines, but I think I've shared on here before. My first sign is I get like splotches in my, like, or I can't see.
Yeah.
I get blurry spots in my vision.
Yeah.
And so my head isn't hurting yet. It's my vision that goes first. And
Yep.
so if I take a pain reliever immediately, that usually knocks it out before it gets to the headache stage. So I'm not a good candidate. I really don't want it to get to the headache stage. So I'm not really a good candidate to test this out. But we're going to have to find someone. My mom gets migraines. I'm going to get her to test it out. Let's find some more friends who get migraines.
Find some friends and ask them.
We could even deliver it to them.
Exactly. I will deliver the fries and the Coke.
Yeah.
I don't even need to video you, but I need a testimonial afterwards.
Yeah. Now, again, obviously, I mean, this doesn't need to be your daily.
Yeah, no. Do not. Yeah, let's not make this a daily like migraine prevention hack.
But I feel like migraines are, for a lot of people, are those things that like just drop in, like at certain times of the month, or drop in,
Right. Maybe weather related or stress related.
So,
and of course there are alternatives out there. There are pretzels. There's coffee. There's but
electrolyte drink, Gatorade.
Exactly.
For those electrolytes. But I don't know. I thought this was so fun, and I love that there's some science to support it. And thank you so much for indulging me.
Thank you for just keeping
letting me do the McMigraine
up on pop culture.
Yes, it's a challenge.
It is a challenge. It is a part-time job for you.
It is.
To keep me up to date.
Yeah, and I really have to pick and choose because there's so much to update you on, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So. Okay, I hope this helps somebody. Please, if you try it or you have already figured this out, let us know. We would love to know.
Yes, we would love to know. All right, until next week.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us for the Happy Eating Podcast. I'm Brierley Horton.
And I'm Carolyn Williams. If you liked this week's episode, then don't forget to rate and leave us a review on iTunes. And be sure to hit the subscribe button so you'll never miss a new episode.
We can't wait to have you back at our table next week for a brand new episode. Bye.
The contents discussed in the Happy Eating Podcast, such as advice, studies, text, graphics, images, and other material discussed or presented on the site or podcast, are for informational purposes only. Content is not intended to be a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your mental health professional or other qualified health providers with any questions you may have regarding your condition. Never disregard professional advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard on the Happy Eating Podcast.
If you are in crisis or think you may have an emergency, call your doctor or 911 immediately. If you're having suicidal thoughts, call 1-800-273-TALK, that's 8255, to talk to a skilled, trained counselor at the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. If you are located outside the United States, call your local emergency line immediately.